Welcome to Darkwing's Flawless Victory, where I want all the smoke, so just bring it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, DarkwingDubb, and I'm back for another one. Now that the dust is kind of settled, let's talk about the playoffs coming up. What do you think? What do you say? First, let's get into who got snubbed. The first team that I can think of is BYU. Why should they be left out for losing their championship game? They always said, and they showed it last year with Texas losing to Georgia, that losing your conference championship game should not have that much of an impact on your seeding or you getting into the playoffs. So BYU was left out. But I could have swore on Saturday I saw Alabama get blown out by Georgia. And they didn't even move. Also, Notre Dame. How is it last week? Last week, you have Notre Dame ranked ahead of Miami. Neither Notre Dame, nor Miami, nor Vanderbilt, nor Texas played. But yet, Miami jumps over Notre Dame. The reasoning, I could understand. I understand their reasoning because head-to-head belongs to Miami. But if that was the case, then why didn't it come out that way last week? Why wasn't last week Miami ahead of Notre Dame? Kind of fishy. I'm not saying something crazy is going on, but they should have made that clear last week that head-to-head was going to matter by having Notre Dame ranked below Miami. Texas also got snubbed. I don't care what some of you dorks out there are saying. Oh, they shouldn't have lost to Florida. Okay, I'll give you that. But I'll give you one better. And this is the one that everybody's been making the point on. To the point where some of these colleges are now checking their schedule to remove these harder games to put some cupcake games on there. You're telling me all in all, Texas is being punished for losing to Ohio State. I don't care about that Florida loss, okay? Alabama lost to Florida State. They didn't just lose. They got their brakes blown off by Florida State. The same Florida State team who just lost to Florida. So I don't care about that. Alabama's still in. Then they have 3 losses. But if Texas plays Texas State instead of Ohio State, they're 10-2 and in the playoff. With a loss to Florida, they're still in the playoff because they're 10-2. This is why Texas was snubbed, because they beat Oklahoma, they beat Texas A&M. First game of the season, they go to Ohio State and lose by a touchdown. Ohio State's now second hardest game of the season because they end up losing to Indiana. And up into the fourth quarter, it was a 3-point game against Georgia in Athens. So you're telling me they get dubs, and mind you, double-digit win too against OU. I'm talking about they 26-3 against the number 18. 27-17 against the number 17. Dubb. 14-7 against the number 2 team. I get it. They lost. Point being, if Alabama got in with the loss to Florida State, Miami got in with the loss to Louisville, why can't Texas get in? They're being punished for playing a harder schedule, out of conference schedule. And that's why now these bigger teams, these bigger schools are going to be trying to not play these harder schedules and keep playing cupcakes. And it's already shown. Alabama's already came out and said they're going to look at the schedule. At least Texas came out and said, no, they're going to honor at least the next two, which is Ohio State and Michigan, because both of them are going to be in Austin. So why not honor it, right? And the other team that got snubbed, Vanderbilt. 2-loss Vanderbilt. Mind you, Texas also beat this Vanderbilt team when they were ranked in the top. And it was the top 11, 12, whatever it was. Texas also beat that Vanderbilt team. But that Vanderbilt team also showed some fight because they were getting their doors blown off. They showed some fight, came back and made the game close. And their other loss was to Alabama, who's in the playoff. Vandy got left out because of strength of schedule, I guess. Their out-of-conference schedule wasn't that good. Whoop-de-doo. Like, what are we doing here? And then on top of that, you let 2 non-power 4 schools in, JMU and Tulane. I feel like if they're going to do that, they need to have a play-in game, because Notre Dame, Texas, or Vandy could have been in the 11th spot. And then you have a play-in game between JMU and Tulane to see which one of the non-power 4 schools gets in. And the other one goes to a traditional bowl game. That makes more sense. I don't mind the 12-team playoff system. I don't. But if they're going to be allowing 2 non-power 4 schools in, then you keep the same 12. You have a play-in game. Just like with the NCAA basketball tourney. They have several play-in games to get into the big tourney. If this is what's going to happen, then they need to have play-in games. Maybe you leave 11 and 12 empty. You have the 2 non-power 4 schools play each other, and then you got the other 2 next 2 highest seeded teams play each other, which in this case I believe was Notre Dame and Texas, maybe. Notre Dame and Texas. So you didn't have them 2 play to see who gets 11. You have the 2 non-traditional power 4 schools play, and they get 12. And then you start the playoff. At some point, they're either going to have to expand it again or just add playing games. So instead of expanding it, playing games. Problem solved. Texas gets in over Vandy because they beat Vandy. So, and their strength of schedule is harder. So, with that being said, I'm going to give my predictions. I think the easiest one to do right now, there's 2 of them. Number 1, congratulations to JMU. You got in. But this is where it ends. Oregon takes on Texas Tech. Then you got Tulane and Ole Miss. We seen them play early in the season. Yes, Lane Kiffin is gone to greener pastures, if you want to say that. Lane Kiffin's now at LSU, but the rest of the coaches are going to be coaching for Ole Miss. And they saw this same Tulane team earlier this season. Give me Ole Miss. Now, this is where it gets tricky because we've seen OU dominate Alabama the last 2 seasons. That OU defense is good now. Don't get it twisted. Just because they lost to Texas and Ole Miss, hey, that defense ain't no joke now because that defense held Texas and Ole Miss down for a little bit. And then they just broke apart. So I'm going to say for a third time, OU goes to play Indiana. And then you got 10-7, Miami and Texas A&M. Number one, I don't think Miami should be there, but that's just me. I think that should have been Notre Dame. But needless to say, you got Miami and Texas A&M. We saw how Texas A&M performed against Texas. It didn't look good, but Carson Beck has been on a roller coaster all season long. Which version of Carson Beck do we get? Do we get the one that threw 4 interceptions against LSU? Or do we get the one that we got early in the season against Notre Dame? I think Texas A&M wins this one. Their defense is just, they're good. They've proven they're good. They're good all season long up until they play Texas. People are going to say, oh, their strength of schedule was trash. I mean, you went through the entire SEC schedule with 0 losses until you played Texas at home at that. And they always say you never know how rivalry games are going to go. Those are always 50-50 games unless you're Texas and Texas A&M, which we know that Texas 90% of the time is going to win the game. Sorry. It is what it is. But if this was going to be the year for Texas A&M, it should have been this year, but they didn't. So I'm picking Texas A&M and that defense to turn over Carson Beck and move on to play Ohio State. So next we got Texas Tech and Oregon. We've seen Oregon go kind of up and down. We've seen Texas Tech get through an okay Big 12. I mean, the Big 12 is not very good. We know Oregon played in the Big 10. I'm taking Oregon to upset Texas Tech and move on to play the winner of Oklahoma and Indiana. And Indiana's defense is good. Fernando Mendoza is good. I'm taking Indiana to play Oregon in the semifinals. Next, we're going to have Ole Miss versus Georgia. We've seen that one. We've seen that early in the season. We saw Georgia have to make a comeback in that game. But like I said, no Lane Kiffin. No Lane Kiffin. And the way Georgia's defense has been playing to end the season, give me Georgia. Then we got Texas A&M and Ohio State. Up until Indiana, Ohio State's hardest game was Texas. They pretty much steamrolled the rest of the Big Ten. Texas A&M didn't play that tough of a schedule. Then when they got to a team that's considered pretty damn good in Texas, we saw what happened. Give me Ohio State. Next, we're going to have Oregon versus Indiana in a rematch. Give me Indiana. Give me Indiana to go to the national championship against the winner of Georgia and Ohio State. And in that one, give me the Bulldogs. Give me the Bulldogs. That defense is just playing out of this world. They're getting healthy. Give me the Bulldogs. National championship, Indiana, Georgia. It's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be about the team who makes the most plays against each team's opposing defense, because both these defenses are top notch. I am taking the Georgia Bulldogs to win the national championship. Georgia Bulldogs to win it all. We'll see how it plays out. You heard my predictions. Hey, if you guys got predictions, let me hear y'all's predictions. Let me hear y'all's predictions. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for hearing other people's ideas. I'm all for it. But right now, I got the Georgia Bulldogs winning the 2025-26 College Football Playoff National Championship. Their third one? Be their third one? Georgia Bulldogs. Indiana's had a great season. Great season. I think maybe they're one season too early. Maybe next year. We'll see who they got playing quarterback, because I think Mendoza's going to the NFL. We'll see who they got playing quarterback. But give me the Georgia Bulldogs.
Flawless victory.
Yes. And I know there's a bunch of people in Georgia that's going to throw parties in Georgia. Again, y'all heard my predictions. Let me hear y'all's predictions. Who is going to win the national championship in y'all's bracket? One more time, I got the Georgia Bulldogs beating the Indiana Hoosiers in the national championship. And until next time, your boy DarkwingDubb is outro. Salute.
Flawless victory.